Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. Just a quick little news video, pretty much centering around prospects, and there was a Utah Mammoth signing I did a YouTube Shorts for that I'll talk about briefly at the end. But over the weekend, June 1st, some NHL rights expired for some prospects across the league. For Utah, two of their prospects' contracts expired. One was goaltender Rasmus Korhonen, who played in the Finnish league and then moved to Sweden. He played a couple games for Tucson like 3 seasons ago. He's been in the organization for a really long time, about 4 years, and now his rights finally expired. So that means that any NHL team can sign Korhonen as a free agent. I'm not too surprised with this. Like I said, he was in the organization for a long time. He had a brief appearance in Tucson, and then they never really brought him back over to Tucson. The other prospect, which is a big one, and second time in doing this channel, that one of the prospects I was really high on that the team moves on from and doesn't sign them to a contract. This is Justin Kipkie. He was my number 10 top prospect for Utah last year when I did a top 10 prospects video. I'll be doing that again after the draft in the next, the draft is in like 3.5 weeks now. But yeah, defenseman Justin Kipkie in the Western Hockey League, playing for the Victoria Royals. He was a point per game defenseman last season. He was a captain. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. I'm flabbergasted why they moved on from him. I try to get answers. If I do get an answer by the time I upload this video, I'll interject that in now. But if not, still no idea why they moved on from him. Probably my best educated guess is that, like Langlois, they don't like his defensive play and they don't like the way he plays defense. Maybe he's not a physical defender, which Bill Armstrong wants his defenseman to play. But again, it's pretty sad for me that another defenseman I liked got a lot of points, just they move on from it. The frustrating part for me is that how do I evaluate a prospect defenseman? I feel like there's not enough stats for me to properly evaluate a defenseman in my team's system. I only could look at points and time on ice, look at if they're a captain or an alternate captain. I thought if you're a captain, you bring good leadership quality skills. Justin Kipkie had. He was the franchise's top scoring defenseman. He was for the Victoria Royals. I don't know how to do this. There's not enough stats out there for me to properly say, like, you know what, I think this guy's not progressing as well as we hoped. Like, his numbers continued, his offensive numbers continued to increase. Maybe I just don't have the information needed to properly evaluate if a defenseman will sign a contract or not. You look at another defenseman in the Western Hockey League, Gabe Smith, who's a sort of physical demon. He's a goon, pure physical defenseman, not a lot of points. He signed a contract a few months ago. So maybe you can tell, like, the scouting staff, the GM, Bill Armstrong, the assistant GM, they were like, you know what, I think Goldsmith brings a sort of different type of defenseman we don't have, whereas Kipkie, we have a lot of these types of guys. Maybe we could move on from him and not waste a contract spot. As you all know, an NHL team can only have 50 contract spots. And then moving on to another prospect in the Canadian Hockey League, Gabe Smith, who I've been talking about a lot recently, playing for the Moncton Wildcats in the Quebec League. He went to the Memorial Cup tournament with his team. A top upcoming draft pick, Caleb Desnoyers, also plays. He's a teammate of Gabe Smith. Utah signed him to an entry-level contract. He's 6'5", over 200-pound centerman. He was a point-per-game player in the playoffs, 22 points in 19 games played. I liked how he played throughout the season, grabbing a lot of points. And now that he signed a contract, he's eligible to play for Tucson next season, I believe, but it hasn't made it. It's not official yet whether he'll go to Tucson this upcoming season or stay in the Quebec League. Another prospect, Fedotov, in the KHL, the Russian league. He got traded to a new KHL team. This is his 4th team in the KHL, and the reports are saying he signed a 2-year contract. This guy was drafted in the same round, the second round, as Josh Doan in 2021, and he still hasn't made his way over to North America. He was taking a few spots before Matthew Nyes. A bit of a blunder. Again, he's a huge, big body power forward winger that Bill Armstrong wants. He loves big wingers, but I guess they chose Fedotov over Matthew Nyes. Again, a blunder in their draft selection there, but it's been so long, like I said, since Josh Doan was drafted, the same time. Look how far Josh Doan has come, and maybe Fedotov will be like Korhonen and Justin Kipkie, where Utah just lets his NHL rights expire. And last but not least, Nick DeSimone, an NHLer, signed an NHL contract with Utah Mammoth. If you look at the Puckpedia defenseman roster for Utah Mammoth, they are at 8 defensemen, but this includes Juuso Välimäki, who was sent through waivers halfway through last season, played in Tucson, and this doesn't include Simashev or Lamoureux on the defensive roster. So Lamoureux and Simashev are going to have to battle for spots. We'll see what happens with Välimäki. Obviously, he's an odd man out if they already sent him through waivers last season. And if you're scratching your head as to why they signed Nick DeSimone, he's a depth right-handed defenseman. And they're going to make sure this season that if there are any injuries to the blue line, they got insurance plans and contingency plans. They have Olli Maatta signed. They have Ian Cole signed. Now they have Nick DeSimone signed. Any injuries, they have it in their system already, the replacement. They don't have to go out and spend a third rounder like they did with Maatta, or look at the waiver wire like they did with Nick DeSimone. And if they feel like Simashev is ready for the NHL, out of training camp, this contract by Nick DeSimone, it's easily variable. It's league minimum, 1 year. They can put him through waivers or let him sit in the press box. And Nick DeSimone, like I said in my YouTube Shorts video, if you didn't see it, DeSimone, he was healthy scratched for about 20 plus games last season. And whenever he was called upon, he was a real good pro about it, getting into the lineup, providing consistency, stability, just getting the pucks out of the defensive zone. And like I also said in the YouTube Shorts, if you didn't see it, when he's in the offensive zone, I feel like Nick DeSimone, all he wants to do is get the puck on net. He doesn't make fancy plays. He just gets the puck on the net. And when you pair him with like a third line or fourth line rotation, that's great because those guys love playing around the net, crashing the net, and looking for those tip-ins. That's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.